Thank you. Hello everybody, my name is Craig Bennett and I'm the founder and owner of TechViewsNelp, and today we are doing the 4th Android tutorial, and this one is going to be getting into a basic overview on Android Studio before we jump a little bit further into this. If you haven't seen my previous videos, then please feel free to check out the card at this point in time, and also if you want to check out the next video, if given it's already out, and keep in mind these come out once to twice a week, then check out the card. If it's there, the next video is out. So as far as this goes, what we're going to do is just do a basic review on Android Studio, and that way you can get a basic feel for everything. And when I actually go off the beaten path, you would actually know how I got there, or at least have a general idea. So what are you looking at, and what is this? Basically, on the left side we have the file structure, so we can go into here and pull up the Java, the layout, and some other stuff. Now, as far as this goes, this is basically where we're going to go to pull up certain types of files. On the top above that, we have a ribbon. Above that, we have a menu, obviously. To the right of this, we have a display. Depending on what exactly you're doing or what you're looking at, is depending on what this will look like. So for example, if we go down to our strings, you might notice that the thing changed completely. If we go to the Java, the thing obviously changed the code again and changed completely. Go back to here and change this to something that looks like a Android phone. Or we can click that and get the code. So how this works is basically when you're looking at a layout, if you go to Design tab, which should be by default, the stuff is pretty simple. What you see here is what it should look like on the final product. Again, keyword is should. So how this works is a basic drag and drop. So you drag it over here to the hierarchy and drop it in, and at some points you can actually drag it into the screen itself and drop it in. Now, each one of these things does a certain thing, and the thing to keep in mind is the higher your Android version is, the more stuff you can use code-wise, and also this. So on the middle, this is the layout. You can change this by selecting the device type, the landscape or portrait. For example, if I'm doing something Netflix wise, I might have a landscape where I'm doing like one of my regular applications. I might do a landscape. On the right side, we have a hierarchy within the device itself. Below that, we have the properties of whatever we are selecting on the hierarchy. So for example, if I want to change the background to something, then I can just say that, okay, there we go. Or we can get rid of that, and here we go. So that's pretty simple, and really all these changes will go automatically into the code side of things, and it just makes it easier for programmers, because it was very, very complicated. And as many people know, if you mess up one character in many of these areas, the entire thing could potentially not work, or you can run into a problem where you don't know how to fix it, or it will take you too long to fix it when you're just trying to do something basic. Now, as far as this goes, you could type in all the codes itself, and in some cases you will need to, but for the most part, most of your work in the layout will be in the Design tab. We can next go into and by the way, this is XML, so in case you're wondering, and you'll see a lot of this. A lot of these code languages are very similar, so I wouldn't worry too much about that, but just know the syntax. So if we go to the Java portion, this is usually where the functionality is, switching between pages, which they call activities, switching what the buttons do and all the other stuff. It's within here, and we'll get more into that. Now in this portion, I want to say we need to start the emulator. So to do that, we need to press Run App, because this is essentially an application itself. If you don't have a device here, or if you run into some problems, you might want to just go to the AVD manager, go to create a virtual device, pick your virtual device, make sure that you select one with a Google API, and then once you're happy, press OK. So from here, we need to go to here and press OK so we can run that. And basically it's building the stuff within the application itself, or within the emulator itself. And what is the emulator and what does it really do at the end of the day? Basically what it does is it allows you to run your applications without actually having the device itself. Of course, having a device is the ultimate thing, but say for example, I don't have an Apple or a Android watch, or I don't have a car that runs Android stuff, or I don't want to go out to a car. Say if I even did, I don't want to go out to the car and hook up all this stuff. So what I will want to do is just test it in here, see how it works, and run it there. And as you see here, it automatically done that. But this entire thing works pretty similar to a regular phone. And if you wanted to, you can actually use this to test if what version does what, and in case you want to play around with that. But and trust me, I've done that myself. So let's say that you want wherever your app should be within here, but let's say that there's some problem that ran up, and you need to figure out what it is. Once the emulator's up and it detects everything's good and the application's on the emulator, this will pop up, and it is a Android monitor, and basically it is under the log tab under right over here, and what that does is it basically logs everything that's going on. So if something goes wrong, you can actually see it with its timestamp and everything. So let's say that the error's not in here and you looked all over. Let's go to messages, and what this is the build. So if the error happened during the actual build process, there's a few things that you can do. You can rebuild it, like rerun it, but what is probably the better option is to first search for the error. Don't tell me what the error is, because there's a lot of them and I won't be able to answer all of them. And to get to someone that can actually answer it in a timely fashion, you can go to stackoverflow.com and ask there on your errors and stuff. But again, I'll say first search Google for the error, and if you find it, then great. If you don't, then Stack Overflow is probably your best bet. There's a few other places, but that's one of the better ones to go to. So let's create an error so you know what it looks like. And basically, one of the easiest ways is by going into the Java and simply going and removing a semicolon where it's suspected. Let's run it again. We can either choose a emulator that's already running or launch a new one. Press OK. And here it says error, and then it gives a semicolon expected. And this is part of the syntax where it says to close the line. So let's add the semicolon again. And if we run it one more time with it in there, the thing should work as seen there. Now, as far as the error, all you need to do is double click on the error itself, and it will just take you to the error exactly where it's at, and that way you don't have to hunt for it. Plus, on top of that, you'll get a red line, and also you get a squiggly mess on the actual one that's creating the error. Now, you may find that squiggly stuff may be the worst case as far as trying to find it, but it's just double clicking on where it says error is the easiest and best thing to do. Now, we don't have to run it again in order to see if the error is fixed. All you have to do is click this button, sync project with Gradle, and what it will do is it will try to rebuild it and see if there's an error, which obviously there isn't. Now, let's say that you want to clean up the project itself. You can go to build and just do clean. It cleans up all the behind the scenes files. But let's say that you can't find this for whatever reason, like it's hidden or whatever. Let's go to the bottom left here, and you can get the full list of everything. And that way you just click that, and it takes you there. Now, as far as this goes, this is pretty much it as this video goes. And that way I don't overload you. But feel free to check out my past videos and also the upcoming video. And remember that I put out these Android how-tos once to twice a week, depending on my personal schedule. And if you do have any questions, let me know. You can let me know if you do run into any problems, but in case if you need to get someone on a timely manner, one of the best locations to ask for help is Stack Overflow. There is some Reddit forums out there and a few other things, so you could use multiple places to potentially get the proper answer and to go through it. But all the places, you need to make sure that you search on Google for the errors and the problems that you run into before you're actually asked them.